hero to have.
Team pick.
Yes, yeah, eHome were running a lot of early Warlock picks.
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, and P became like one of their big. I mean, they were just doing it like as an AoE teamfight combo with like the Muerta and stuff. But yeah, Lanham was like one of the first big players and captains to really try and push it, and especially as that counter the 5-man push.
Weaver.
Liquid's turn to ban.
Okay, nothing. I don't think there's too much telling about the Weaver pick. It's like, it does take advantage of the lack of control in these first two heroes, but you got to imagine Liquid. They've got an offlaner for mind control. They've still got GH's hero. We'll have plenty of room to draft into heroes that can at least somewhat deal with the Weaver, but it does set up to have that dire side hero that can take Roche. It's a strong laning hero. I think something at least that we can take away from game one is that NiP do like to have good early game, win their lanes, and then work from there.
And see how they. I was about to say, I was like, Underlord would be a good one because that hero just took so much attention for NiP to be able to deal with in the laning phase. And they did deal with them, yes, but they weren't able to have as much impact.
It was definitely a problem hero. I wonder how much they recognize the Naga as another hero that maybe they don't want to verse again. And they can definitely make adjustments. I think they can look at last game and be like, we had a draft an idea that could have won that game. Like they were up by a decent margin, had a lot of map control, they'd taken down most of the outer towers, they had an Aegis. I think that they were in a position where they would have been able they would have been able to win that game against maybe a weaker team or a team who who is maybe like on a similar. I think Liquid right now the favorites here, and I think if NiP was versing a team they were more like 50-50 against in terms of just where they were at, like NiP still a new team trying to work to kind of build themselves back up, they would have won that game.
Necrophos is actually going to hero and away. I guess you've got a lot of potential 5-man team fight already with the Warlock SF. You combine that with a bit of sustain and pushing power, and Team Liquid's lineup be too much for you to handle, especially for, I think that's one of the big downsides of Weaver. The bugs give you a decent amount of team fight presence, but the hero itself, that single target damage, physical, and it's usually a bit lacking in those early 5-man team fights that a sort of death ball strategy kind of kick Weaver out of the game and make the hero.
Dire team pick.
Yeah. Oh, good. Go to the Rubik and Warlock together. So we'll see. I want to see GH more likely to play the Rubik as much as one of Kuro's classics, and he did play it last game when it's like I've seen GH also play it when it's more the 4 position, which is I imagine what the case is going to be for this Rubik here. But very good against the Weaver with the free Shikuchi steal. Can steal Disruption potentially as well, which is a nice spell to have. So a pretty well-rounded pick, but also something that hides what Liquid are doing as far as their Matu hero goes.
Yeah, everyone thinks of Kuro being the big Rubik god back in the day, but previous Liquid, it was Eric's playing it just because he was good, right? GH, who is well praised by NiP. How are they going to respond to the Rubik? They'll go for a quick Invoker pickup for Koifa.
Okay.
Not really trying to hide that one into a 4th pick at all, just going straight for their mid.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, they aren't worried about being taken, but I think they'd rather leave like their support to, and that their offlaner to decide if they need to counter anything that Liquid throw at them. But Invoker, I think, solves some of the problems from last game. It has a bit more ability to force pushes. It's going to scale a bit better than the Queen of Pain, just with levels. Like Queen of Pain kind of suddenly reaches this late game spike when you hit the level 25 if you have the Octarine Blade Mail type build, but the way Koifa was playing was very gank oriented, and unfortunately he wasn't finding those kills. He ended up just farming a lot and getting this Orchid, Hex, BKB, Ags. Like he had all these items that he just couldn't really utilize, but Invoker's a hero that you get items, you'll find a way to use them.
That hero, he doesn't have the same peaks and valleys, right? He stronger and stronger and this time it'll give Ninja's Pajamas a little bit more of a late game threat. So they very clearly had to fall back on the game. Game 1. Make it work, but able to do so with those kind of heroes, Invoker opportunity. Team Liquid actually opting for Sand King, an offlaner that I feel like has been sort of set aside for a little while here now. Patch. People seem to agree that he's strong and everything else, but it seems like a lot of the other mech sustain offlaners are being picked up first rather than the big time team fight initiate.
Yeah. Yeah, we saw like a couple Enigmas yesterday. We're seeing the Dark System a lot, and then seems teams are happy enough to have a 4 position. Like the Slardars are coming out in the 4 position to kind of be that more stun initiator. But I guess they don't want to entirely have to rely on the Rubik here, and probably just deciding like they don't need that mech hero so much. It's going to be a kind of tempo of game where they're not necessarily 5-manning to push. They are happy to farm up the Shadow Fiend, see what Matu gets. It's more likely going to be something more late game oriented. And NiP's response is a clockwork. More like a setup hero than anything. It's not really a response to any one thing Liquid's drafted here. It feels like more something to complement the Invoker, can set up some Sunstrike ganks around the map, and it's just a fight start to pair with the Weaver Invoker as well.
Yeah, I really like it versus the first 2 heroes of Liquid. You know, Warlock, SF in particular is really threatened by Clockwork and his early presence on the map. But then Rubik Sand King, Clockwork is not quite so good against 2 escape mechanisms against that combination. Rubik even has the early laning phase presence against the Clockwork, able to pull him out of his cogs.
Yeah.
See how he does.
That potential 4 position clock though, so.
Oh yeah, that's
true. Out the dark here, but
10 seconds remaining.
Doesn't strike me as that. I mean, we talked about Hani and how he wants to play greedy. Clockwork isn't really that greedy 4 position. It's much more of like a active do shit kind of 4 position hero. So if he was going to continue the trend from last game, it more likely see him farm.
I would agree with that. I do like the combination though of Shadow Demon Clockwork. So if they went that route, I'd be okay with it. I agree with your
10 seconds
remaining. And their attitudes. It feels like Clockwork is very much a tricksy hero, and something else is going to be picked up. Maybe we're going to see another aggro channeling scenario. Support Clockwork with a Weaver Shadow Demon. Ember Spirit is no. We can't have Ember Spirit 1v1 against the Sand. Maybe Weaver is going to be this.
10 seconds remaining.
Ember Spirit is in a tri-lane?
Who was so we saw someone do an offlane Ember. I want to say maybe it was Salladder or something. Or was it? It wasn't yesterday. We saw offlane Ember, was it? There was one game where I saw a team, they suddenly last pick an Ember when they had their carrion mid already picked. I want to say it may have even been Liquid themselves who like ran an offlane Ember Spirit, and it was just this very bizarre thing. But the hero, I mean, it's like if you can get your levels in that offlane, you can still be. You don't need to have a huge amount of farm as an Ember. Just get some levels, farm up a Veil, which is pretty cheap, cost-effective item. Get a Blink later on. This is like a kind of similar draft to last game for NA, where it's very mid-game aggressive centric. Wow. Yeah, this is perhaps a change of tune from Liquid, not gearing up for the late game quite as much, more trying to hit his timing around probably like a Sand King Blink with a couple of Dragon Lancers on Drow and Shadow Fiend, start pushing down some early towers whenever they've got rock up. And I think the key thing for NiP is to fight around that rock cooldown. Like they may lose a fight to a Chaotic Offering, but as soon as that happens, they need to bounce back and immediately put the pedal down and try and take the game to Team Liquid.
5 seconds remaining.
Be doing that offlane Ember Spirit, or if they're going to try and match an aggro tri-lane against a Ranger lineup, Rubik and Warlock as supports, that feels a bit dangerous. Era's already heading out to the top lane, and Syndren's going to be escorting Trixie, so maybe we could be seeing some sort of dual lane. Yeah,
Syndren on the Clockwork, interestingly, but see, what he manages to get done. It kind of change of tune from NiP putting Hani on that more 5 position role and Synderen onto the 4, but perhaps just a player preference thing with Synderen being more attuned to playing the clockwork. Probably, I mean, the more niche pick of the two as far as supports go.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We're gonna have early setups here, so yeah, looks like dual lanes. With the Shadow Demon Uber Spirit against SK. That doesn't feel too bad. You need the Shadow Demon in lane to make sure that mind control doesn't walk over that lane with the Alley. Wonder how Clockwork's going to be able to perform as a support helping out Trixie in the bottom lane, though, against this aggro tri-lane. It feels like a lane that he's not going to be able to find those kind of separations. So unless he's purely here just to cog block, and that's his only real objective, I'm not sure what he's going to be able to accomplish.
Yeah, this tri-lane seems like the response to a potential Clockwork presence down here, and this is a lane which should be pretty decently Liquid favored. You're looking at 3 ranged heroes against a Clockwork and a Weaver who doesn't have max range himself. And I like this from Liquid because Sand King doesn't need much help against a dual lane. If it's just the Shadow Demon Ember Spirit, he does very well in a 1v2 scenario. He should be able to get some decent farm up here. Shadow Demon doesn't really pressure him all that much. Now the Shadow Poison that it is in the build, it's been nerfed so much. Sand King does even better in this 1v2 matchup, so it does feel like all these lanes are pretty good. And yeah, Synderen, he does the cogs, he TP's top. I think he realizes like he needs to be up here to help zone mind control.
He just tries to give a bit of boost to Trixie's lane, and they can now go for an attempted kill onto Mind Control, who is yet to level anything up, so he should still be okay. Cogs push back here into the chains. Maybe he's not okay. Goes for the early Sandstorm, and they don't actually have any counter vision. Mind Control spotted that one out real quickly and sees his opportunity to win the lane just like that.
It looked like Synderen, I mean, he did make a great play. Got the boots, cut him off with the cogs pushback, so he couldn't even burrow strike out at that point, but Mind Control with the presence of mind to save that skill point. Needs to be careful now because it is on cooldown, and they've actually got him.
Yep, they've got another cogs pushback. Mind Control, actually, no, he just runs straight up and is going to look for the TP out, but with the Flame Guard there, it looks like the damage may still be there, unless he can actually juke this one out. Sandstorm, then he's going to run north or south, because he's got to run one way or the other. He can't just stick around. He's going to run north, try and go deeper into this jungle area, has the TP skull ready to go, but now Synderen's locked onto him, has the cogs ready to go with the push if necessary. Mind Control goes even farther north behind the tower now, looks to make his way all the way around the tower, and it might just be good unless, okay, now he's going to put himself, yeah, okay, he thought there was some way to make that one through, but not able to do so, and he will get corralled into a corner, and First Blood goes the way of Hani.
Okay. No, supports get what they were hoping for, at least in the end there, but very, very odd start to this offlane, and you can TP right back in and get a decent amount of XP. There's the double range creep on the enemy side, so ideally for Mind Control, he gets this wave towards his tower. As long as he can stop Hani from getting the side pull off, then looks like he should be able to at least, yeah, keep most of it near himself.
Synderen still going for another wraparound. I'm also trying to keep my eye on mid, where currently Koifa is suffering in CS, and actually was brought pretty low earlier from Miracle. This one seems to be going a lot better for Miracle than it did last time again, but to be expected.
Yeah. No, it feels like the laning stage is going really good for Liquid. I mean, the offlane Sand King dying is not really the end of the world. He's now got a full level 3 worth of experience at his tower. The mid lane's being handily won with the help of the Drow Aura. And bottom lane Weaver getting some CS here and there. Not really an easy kill for the Liquid tri lane, but they've still got the Drow free farming. So as far as timings go, Liquid are going to kind of hit theirs pretty nicely, assuming NiP don't make any big aggressive plays.
Well, Mind Control, this time around, Flame Guard's going to be a lot harder to deal with. Does have to burrow strike over the trees. Last time he had Sandstorm, and that killed the Flame Guard relatively quickly, but level 2's now up and a big increase HP for that one. Waiting on Synderen to have his go here on Miracle. See if he can actually get the successful gank leading into a Cogs and a Sunstrike combo, but it doesn't look like he feels comfortable. Miracle holding the right-hand side of the lane is going to start pushing forward, as he did have vision of Synderen and his earlier. As Synderen tries to get back to top lane, but is a bit too late. Mind Control That's what's coming. Trixie is actually going to be playing up against GH here. Followed that Rubik all the way into the mid lane, but a really good telekinesis throws him over to the other side of the river, which GH probably would have died otherwise.
I'll take your tribute.
Oh, Miracle gets the Invis room before Trixie can deny it, so he's in a good position. He may even turn and kill Trixie. Okay, Trixie, one last Chikuchi, just enough mana. Miracle will be more than okay here. With the Invis rune, he can easily escape any kind of a gank coming in. He's actually keeping quite below. I don't think Synderen can really do all too much here.
Again, every
Miracle's
single
just-
time this rotation spotted out.
He may double raise him. Quakevar.
One, and another one coming in. Invis, but oh no, the raise misses. He doesn't have enough mana for the mid-range raise, so he actually completely misses out on that kill. Now got to be locked inside the cogs, but Miracle will gladly fight that one out. Telekinesis over the side, and a long-range raise comes in time. This time, Miracle finds the kill. Mind control, he's done so. He, every single time Synderen's been spotted out by this ward, which has been so value for them, playing a lot more aggressively into that duo lane, but looks like his aggression bites back at him. Trying to hunt.
Yeah, perhaps didn't see the Sentry Wards brought out by Hani or something, but even so, it still feels like he's getting a decent amount of farm and XP out of this lane, already close to level 5, and, well, it's not really the end of his game that he's died a couple of times, although has set Era up to be in a very good position as far as his farm goes on Ember. Drill's come in and found Hani once again, going to put some pressure onto him.
We've got GH here with the Cosmic Finale pop going down. They are going to be able to pick up this kill, and without a support, Era can't really fight Mind Control either. So nice rotation from GH. Well set up by Mind Control.
Yeah, the handy kill to get, and this top lane getting some assistance now means Sand King will have an even better time.
Ooh,
Rick needs
that's
to be
a
careful
smoke.
though.
That's a smoke that's immediately spotted by GH's ward behind the tower. May still just have his smoke pop purely by running into GH, looks like. So, Miracle knows that his life is in danger. Might be a little bit more for the next 30 seconds.
And there we go. GH will pop it as Hani tries to swoop in towards the mid lane. Miracle wasn't anywhere to be seen anyway, so.
Synderen, you
Nicely played.
sneaky bugger, look at you. Gets around Matsu, manages to catch him with the cogs. Is going to be pushed out of said cogs. Cogs do get a little bit more damage onto Matsu, and it looks like they've got him dead. Managed to pick up with the battery assault where he left off. So, nice rotation from Synderen. Despite all those mid-rotations going awry, thanks to the ward, he finally does find a 6 in bottom.
Yeah, that's a nice kill to get. Drow was just kind of free farming away, hadn't really seen any pressure head her way, and one of the hero's big weaknesses is her real lack of sustain and inability to get away from ganks like that. So finally find a way to kill at least one of the two Liquid carries, and we'll see if they can follow it up with some additional aggression. At some point they do need to prioritize getting Synderen his level 6. He's still just level 3.5. Bounty runes will help out a little bit, but he may even need like a lane to himself just to get that level 6 at some point soon.
Yeah, maybe we'll see Trixie pick up the call and be the aggressor in one of these side lanes, because the early Weaver can be quite formidable. Shukuchi is not bad damage. The Swarm, as we talked about earlier, is rather devastating. You can't address that bug issue. Synderen, they know about this one thanks to the Dire Scan. He's going to try and wrap into the Shrine area to catch Miracle here. Now, it is going to be a little bit tough, and that's why he needs another TP in. They're going to have the Sunstrike on top of the Battery Assault, and Miracle is down. I'm not sure about that big play of aggression from him.
That was insane. I mean, it's space for bottom lane. I guess his team's telling him, like, all right, we're putting pressure bottom. They may respond to this, but without the Shadow Demon, I'm pretty sure he dies to that. Top lane Era.
He's got the wand. He's got the Burrow Strike. He's got it.
Yeah.
That is a
now
big kill.
the escape isn't really there. Synderen would love this kill to get him towards that level 6. Mind Control can tuck himself in with the Quelling Blade. Synderen ready for it though.
Oh no, he doesn't have any mana for Battery Assault, so Mind Control's still going to be able to get away.
All right, he's home free. I mean, there's some very weird plays and ganks coming out, especially that Miracle play mid lane is. He's not a player you normally think of as like being divey and going like super aggressive for a kill and trading his life for it. Like that's not a very Miracle-esque play.
3 points of contact. He was dead center right in the middle of that one. But I think you're absolutely right. I think you said the push down at bottom, they probably made the call, hey, they're probably going to rotate to this. At the same time, Mind Control was getting very aggressive at top lane. They figured there's going to be rotations to one of these side lanes.
Yeah. Well, the net result is a small win for Liquid. Like they get a tower, they get a kill at top, and they lose SF mid. Like that's still 2 out of those 3 things are good for Liquid. And like Miracle gets some money from the tower. They're pressuring the enemy carry. So like the Ember for the SF trade in itself is like a decent trade-off, and then you get a tower. So I mean, it's not like the end result is terrible for Liquid. It just felt like he could have just farmed that wave without diving the tower while those 2 things happened at top and bottom.
Stacking against the Sand King is always a bit of a scary endeavor. NiP are committing their resources to try and clear through this one right now. Mind Control is going to interrupt, and he does have some backup. He's already told the Drow Ranger and Warlock to TP their way on in. There's great opportunities to be had here. The Sunstrike is going to land on Mind Control, bringing him lower, but he is going to receive a heal now. Trixie, low on mana, is going to bring Mind Control a little bit lower, but not low enough to go for the kill. Instead, they're going to pick up GH. Era's managed to lock him down, and they will throw out the Remnant. GH definitely dodges it, but there's only so much you can do on that slow support. Kuro banging the drums in the side, itching for a fight still around this hard camp, but it's already been cleared away by NiP, so lost opportunity there for Liquid.
Yeah, Kuro wants to use that chaotic offering. He's trying to find an opening for it. Again, I think it's a similar call where it's like Miracle just play aggro at mid, really span this wave out, start right-clicking that tower so that we can either get a tower top or even a fight up top while you potentially get a T1 mid tower. Like one of these 2 lanes should end well for Liquid, whether it's a tower or a kill, and right now Mind Control's in a pretty good position to Quelling Blade his way through, potentially even find Hani here.
They turn into an awkward accidental bump. Oh, the Hani actually stops the disruption there. But the silence was forced on Hani. Instead, they are going to be able to hit the hook shot. Cinderin separates Matu from the rest of his team. They're going to be able to lock him down. Again, with the Sunstrike, they make quick work of whatever heroes inside those cogs. Mind Control is going to be next up. Burrows his way deep into the trees and will manage to get that TP. Nicely played. Kuro was the other casualty. Very easily cleaned up by Hani and Trixie.
Yeah, great disruption from Hani. Using it on the Warlock, not as a setup, not as a save, but just to stop that chaotic offering being dropped down to help the Drow Ranger. Without that chaotic offering, the Drow was dead by the time the disruption ended, and at that point Kuro's like, well, there's no point using it, I'm going to save it for a later fight, and couldn't TP out in time as well. So really nicely played by NiP. It is still Miracle farming away. He's going to go for that Shadow Blade build again, but that's the kind of trade that they need to be looking for on the NiP side. If they can get a couple of kills like that while Liquid's trying to make plays around the rock, that's going to come a long way as far as keeping them close as far as the cause and the overall farm goes.
Oh, it's funny, I was watching a couple of Liquid games a couple days ago for the Steep qualifiers. And it's funny, the one thing I felt Liquid did very well is that they had usually they usually had 2 heroes, 2 players, and it was different. I think most of the time it was not the same, like off lane and support or something like that. It was 2 different players, 2 different heroes that needed to be very aggressive to buy space for somebody else, and we're seeing that kind of idea behind Liquid here, with Liquid's aggressive play at mid, with the way Mind Control plays very much up in the face of Ninja's Pajamas. It does seem to be one of the strategies and just general maybe principles of Liquid, how to be able to buy space for each other. NiP are going to be able to set up a Sunstrike here on a GH, quickly right-click him down. Liquid thought they were going to have an opportunity for aggression with that invis, but it went against them rather starkly.
Yeah, that's good preparation from NiP to have that sentry there, and well, they find that kill here. Miracle's Shadow Blade itself is going to be scattered out as Trixie swoops into the jungle. Not a whole lot he can really do to Miracle, but bottom lane is what NiP may have their eyes set on, with a couple of heroes rotating down here, but feels like if they really feels like NiP, if they group up to like push any lane, like let's say bottom lane, they're going to lose like mid tower, potentially top tower as well. Just feels like the damage output between the Shadow Fiend, the Drow, and Sand King's ability to clear waves is going to punish NiP anytime they make any kind of group up kind of play to push a lane.
GH left alone in this bottom lane. A little bit of presence, just keeping this push back, and NiP commits serious resources to killing him. GH, I'm sure, won't be too sad. Actually doesn't manage to get the Shikuchi. I think Trixie planning around that one, throws out the swarm. Is one of the plays that Weaver's going to have to do quite a bit here against this Rubik, prevent the steal of Shikuchi.
Yeah. Insta swarm out of the Shikuchi, and Synderen even having the hook shot to stun him, so NiP finding kind of a series of good pickoffs. First at top lane, then they get the Rubik at mid, now they find him at bottom lane as well. They're finding the kills, and Clockwork having this level 6, and Arcane Boots has this constant sustain and ability to keep going for these kills, and don't look like they're done, but unfortunately without that hook shot, they don't really have the best way to initiate onto Miracle up top.
Certainly don't. He takes power. Or Liquid 3-9 right now, 14 minutes in. NiP are well ahead in kills, but it's actually Liquid that are slightly up. About 2,000 net worth right now, and 100 experience. First, they do have the very clear tower lead. Liquid have managed to keep all their towers intact.
Yeah, most of that thing is coming purely from the Shadow Fiend and his net worth, as far as farming through the jungle and multiple lanes, getting some towers for his team. But Quake's doing his best to kind of keep up. Is going to be going into that straight Aghanims build, but needs to be careful not to get caught out here. Miracle is hunting.
It does seem like maybe NiP have made this read. Nice. They're going to be able to get the disruption, slow him down. The Sunstrike actually misses, but they will still easily kill Miracle with the help of the Soul Catcher. Liquid are trying to put the pressure on mid now, see if they can quickly take this tier 1, but maybe NiP can still make the rotation to stop this. Era's in place, already gets the Veil Discord out. Hookshot misses, though, from Synderen. Hoping to make the initiation as the rotations came in. Just a NiP. One slight win, or I would actually say that's a pretty moderate win in the bottom lane, killing Miracle.
Yeah, that really hurts Liquid, I feel, at this stage of the game. The lane ward scouting his TP in, and then the immediate TP to the Shrine from Hani was a very heads-up play coming from them. It does look like they may lose this tower slowly without the hook shot. Matu can just kind of freely siege it, but even so, it still feels like a decent result there for NiP killing the Shadow Fiend.
Yeah, they are the team that, they're on the opposite side of things, right? They're the team that is going to be losing their towers, and they're going to feel the pressure of Liquid's push lineup, but ultimately they have the better late game, and they're just looking to buy each other time or that point. Pixie running into GH. Not the swarm. GH around, just get the telekinesis and hoping to be able to set up mind control, but the wards are already in place early.
Yeah, not a whole lot of fun on Trixie at this point, but he was that off-lane role Weaver, so you're just going to be going for whatever cost-effective items he can get, starting with the Dragon Lance. Going to be much more kind of used for perhaps the utility of the Swarm, and just being a maybe more scouting hero who can be pesky, get on top of the supports like the Warlock. An under-farm Warlock will still die to a pretty low-farm Weaver at this stage of the game, so he can kind of try and force Kuro to use his spells preemptively and not get off the best Chaotic Offering in a fight.
See, hook shot, there it is. They're gonna go straight for GH. Mind control does manage to stop some of that damage. Faked out. Kuro actually holding on to the Chaotic Offering, seeing that GH was definitely dead and is going to wait for a better opportunity. Maybe Trixie here with the silence up. Another stun. Now he's gonna drop the Chaotic Offering. Synderen comes in, but now the ultimate goes out for Miracle. Era gets bounced back just like that, and Matu actually survives through all of that. Hani is going to be the extra cleanup here. Sunstrike. Oh, he tried to have a guess at where Matu was at invis, but doesn't quite hit him. Koifa not able to get much in return. NiP lose 4, and all they got out of that was that Rubik kill earlier.
It's like that one bad fight against the Drow lineup, or nowadays it's more often against like an SD Luna draft, and you lose not just the fight, but you lose a tower and a Roshan potentially as well, which will bring buildings down very, very quickly. And after this tier 2, if they want, they can fall back to Roshan. Would be a little bit difficult perhaps with the TP to the Shrine. We could see NiP still try and contest it, but Liquid's damage output is more than enough to kill it at a decent time.
Certainly, if Liquid can't do it now, it's going to have to be something that NiP have in mind for the next 5 to 10 minutes. Lose another team fight like that, it probably means objective in Roshan, which means, talked about last game, right? That first Aegis could be used as leverage to take the tier 2. Bottom lane, they're going to go for GH. GH gets chained up, unable to steal the Remnant. won't have an escape mechanism there.
Yeah, quite a few deaths on GH this game. He's kind of playing that role where it's like, all right, someone go push out this bottom lane. It's a bit of a dangerous place to be. You don't want to send your Shadow Fiend or Drow down there. All right, let's send the Rubik. And it's unfortunate that NiP are prioritizing killing him as much as they are, but it's not the biggest loss for Liquid at the same time.
Dro's a little bit bigger of a kill with the Hand of Midas. He's got a little bit more net worth to work with, but he can't finish him off. Now the silence on Trixie. Matu turns the whole thing around with the help of Mind Control. They will still get that tier 2 at bottom lane, and that is very much needed. NiP are finally getting some tower gold into their coffers, even if it is at the cost of life.
That's a decent bit of control over this bottom side of the map, but I think it's something that NiP have already been kind of asserting their dominance over with or without that tower taken, and Honey now in deep as a Blink Dagger will get found.
He picked up here, Mind Control pops a Sandstorm, stopping any disruption. Turns around, tries to get whatever damage. Oh, he actually has him! Oh, the power of Shadow Demon, man.
Wow. Okay.
Ah, what a silly Shadow Demon is.
Soul Catcher, yeah.
Hard fight position counters your one position. Doesn't really matter what hero most of the time. How's that?
Reminds me of the best was the Spectre ones, where you find like you can solo kill a Spectre as a Shadow Demon with the Dispersion Soul Catcher illusions.
Yeah.
But that is, yeah, Shadow Demon things. Who needs Shadow Poison these days with its 4-4-0 build?
Oh, that's another big pickup. Miracle has been picked off a number of times now, and it can be seen in this net worth chart where Liquid, they're holding on to this constant lead, yes, but they have the tower advantage. They have this pushing lineup. They're supposed to be ahead, and I don't think they're getting far enough ahead as they feel like they should. Only 4K gold and about 3,000 experience at this point. Trixie coming in with a double damage, trying to threaten Mind Control. Another Sunstrike is going to be off point. Oh, Trixie commits, but can't quite finish him off. Now Era's going to make some commitment of his own, but he's beaten back by Miracle, now stunned up, and he may lose his life. It cost Mind Control his own, but that's okay. The Ember Spirit was well worth it. Cinderin comes in, hits the hook shot onto the friendly creep, but does manage to close the distance with Miracle, hoping to be able to lock him down with the Meteor. They've got him down. That is big. NiP actually buying back now as Era sees the opportunity, and it's a big one too. They can get Matu here as well. The Sunstrike, this time it'll be on point. Koifa picks up the triple kill, and a buyback from Era in part helps lead to a big win for Ninjas the Pajamas. They get some control, they get some kills, and they might just have a tier 2 tower as well.
Oh, it's such a team fight setup there. Trixie carrying the dust for his team to go on the Sand King at the start, and Koifa landing all of his spells. The perfect meteor thanks to Cinderin's hook shot onto the SF, hitting the Sunstrikes as well. And that's a tier 2 tower into Roshan most likely. They group up around the shrine, possibly even want to pop that one before they go for it, and this is a much more even, if not NiP favored state of game now after that fight.
This is going to be a bit dangerous, this Roshan. Can they do it? Oh, I guess they've got Weaver Mod. I forgot about that. They do it so quick. I was like, I don't know. They've still got this tier 1 Enshrine. Maybe Liquid can get there in time. At the most they can do, it looks like at this point, is get some sort of rebuttal kills to Aegis being picked up, but not even that's going to happen. Disruption goes down. Cinderin is still going to be silenced up. They're going to try and kill him from a distance, but not wanting to fully commit to that kill, as the team following would be quite nasty. They have to deal with an Aegis Ember Spirit now. That is really only second to probably Storm Spirit when it comes to feared Aegis holders.
Yeah, it's definitely up there. It's going to be a big problem for them as far as Era goes. And with this Blink Dagger, you can start playing hyper aggressive by just blinking in, not having to worry too much. You can have the Fire Remnants to escape, can use them aggressively when he's got the Aegis. On the Aegis respawn, you can often blink out from tough situations, so for NiP, they're going to have a very high level Invoker, about to hit level 20, so his spell's starting to look very potent. And he's got 5.2 gold, so we're going to see a major item pickup soon for Koifa. And that's going to make this game a whole lot more difficult for Liquid, who, I mean, as much as they don't really want to play that, go for the late game, it does feel like they almost need to with the Drow, Shadow Fiend, try and focus on more like the BKB timings of these two heroes. They're both going for that as their next major item, and I think this is them like respecting, they're now at this point in the game where they can't fight the Ember Invoker. The Sunstrike Meteor combo is doing too much damage, the Ember himself just does too much magic damage. Until they get BKBs, they've got to avoid fights.
Lincoln's complete for this Invoker. He's going to be harder to bring down. So not only do you have the Aegis on Ember Spirit, you have this nice defensive pickup for Koifa that can now take initiation of the Sand King. That Burrow Strike does get countered up by the Lincolns. So NiP, they definitely see they're in the advantage. They want to try and force some sort of fight here. And failing that, they'll just take the mid one tower. Looks like Liquid will be giving it up. As you said, waiting on those BKBs. They all have queued up in their quick buys.
I mean, they've got the rock, but I think that necessarily is enough to fight with. And speaking of which, Kuro is found. 40 seconds without Warlock means this last T2 tower, possibly Shrines, or even a slight high ground attempt could come out of NiP. GH wants the Courier.
Takeoff turns into tier 2. He's got it. Moving forward. And he does. Nice pickup. Unfortunately, no items on it. Still good enough. Matsu trying to get himself that BKB. Has the Mythful Hammer coming up. And NiP are actually forced away from that push. Looks like Mind Control's presence by himself was enough to keep NiP wary of that. Oh, nice catch up. Disruption right before the TP cancel out. Miracle will be ripped apart by his own illusions.
It feels like Miracle is just kind of not having, I mean, he's just straight up not having his best game. Like a few misplays from him, missing the kill early on the Invoker where he didn't hit that second raise after the Ghost Walk. I mean, he could have used it earlier. The death at mid, plays like that, he's just not really on point. Like, this isn't the Miracle like you expect to see when he's playing for Team Liquid or any team for that matter. And it's right now hurting Liquid a lot.
No, you're in trouble when GH is spending his time cliff jungling. Koifa's gonna come across, he's like, what the hell? Why is that camp missing, guys? He just throws out tornadoes and sun strikes. He's like, somebody had to be here, but GH has already made his exit.
Yeah, desperate times. But this is, I mean, I feel like this is where NiP need to improve on what happened last game. Like they've got this edge, they've got the Aegis now, and they fell short last game because they were just like too passive at a certain stage. Well, not even that they were too passive, it was like Liquid were reading the move around the map and they weren't able to translate an advantage into objectives, into a decisively won game, and that's what they need to be doing now. Even though their lamp can scale, they've reached a peak now. The BKBs aren't up just yet, they've got an Aegis. There's no point giving Liquid the time and space to finish the BKB on Shadow Fiend if you can push now.
Silence onto Trixie, but they are going to be able to get the Cinder and hook in with double inside the cogs. If Eric can actually get inside there, they can lay out some big time damage. The BKB is activated, and now they have the epicenter counter. Cinder tries to make his way back, but is going to be caught by GH into a Burrow Strike. That'll be one kill, but Era actually turns back in, tries to go for Miracle, but now he's been silenced up, and he's going to be losing that Aegis unless the disruption save from Hani can buy him some time. Koifa comes in, nice Ice Wall there, holding Miracle in place. Era will finally lose his Aegis, but that's okay. They got one big core out of Liquid, and they look to catch more. Mind Control gets away. Matsu is going to be just as lucky. The Invis saves his life. Another silence, turnaround play, but if they can protect their carry without too many issues here. Shukuchi and Disruption picked up IGH as the spawn ability, and that did not feel too great for NiP. They got the Miracle kill, but they lost the Aegis at the same time.
Yeah,
feels like a small win for them.
It wasn't the cleanest execution. I mean, the Drow BKB was the big turnaround point where Liquid could kind of stand their ground and fight. The Warlock not dying in the hookshot meant that he at least got off a decent chaotic offering, got the Fatal Bonds off, and allowed the Drow to just kind of sit there doing some decent damage output. But yeah, NiP killing Miracle again, so they slow down his BKB and they can try and take advantage of him falling behind in farm. Invoker is like 5.6k net worth ahead of SF. To think that like 15 minutes in the game, SF was ahead by 2 or 3k net worth. Things have changed a lot, but this is still going to take a bit more from NiP to secure this game. Like, they're going to have Koifa scaling very well into the late game, but Liquid themselves, if they can get SF and Drow a couple more items post BKB, will be able to fight into the Invoker still.
What I did like about NiP, because you're right, the teamfight execution wasn't the cleanest, I just think on both sides, but what I did really like about NiP was the way that they were able to make the call, whether it was coincidental or not, to back away from that epicenter. Felt like the Mind Control's initiation was completely wasted. He kind of jumped in, tried to make his Burrow Strike play. He maybe caught a little bit of damage on Era and Synderen, but it wasn't hugely impactful like hoping with that.
Yeah.
As a result, NiP come out on top. They're going to have a very farmed Invoker. And this is the kind of Koifa that we're talking about here. He is a greedier core, but in part, it's because of his late game performance on some of these scaling heroes that's the reason he wants to play that way. It is his, in a way, specialty. And level 22 Invoker rapidly approaching level 25. NiP have to be feeling pretty good about their chances closing out this game 2 and forcing a game 3.
Yeah, I mean, late game is where Koifa as a player shines. Like post 30, 40 minutes is where Koifa is really in his prime, when he's got the items to work around, when he feels like he can just do a lot independent of his own team. Not to like discredit him or anything, like he's like a solo kind of oriented player, but it's more just his style where he likes to be playing that more farm oriented role, whereas Era is going to be the one initiating, playing around the team, creating the space. And for now, NiP to get that Octarine core. Yep, they're going to have it now with level 22, soon to be level 25 Talon Invoker over maybe like by the 32, 33 minute mark. They're going to be very, very strong. They don't manage to take any serious damage to the Liquid side. I mean, they take out one of the 2 shrines. They've managed to get a decent amount done before the SF-BKB, but with the SF-BKB now complete, Miracle is not going to be that easy free kill in a team fight.
Yeah, certainly not. And I think that's where initiation really comes to a point for NiP. If they can still get a good initiation and maybe even a disruption on that SF.
Come Liquid.
Nice, Trixie popping that smoke. Well played with the Shikuchi. Will get out, no problem. The shrine will be protected, it seems, by Liquid. They know how important this shrine is above all else to be able to control that Roshan pit. Can't afford to give up another Aegis. Trixie, it looks like he got caught, though. Mind Control and Matu. Maybe it was with the gem of Mind Controls managed to spot him out, get a big kill, and he just happened to force staff himself straight into a ward as well. So, small little pickups there by Liquid, setting themselves up for a good Roshan fight in the coming minutes.
And it's just like a good location to fight because you know NiP are there, grouped up as 5, and you feel like you can get a jump on them, which is something that Liquid haven't been able to do too much this game, and perhaps catch them by surprise. BKB of the Shadow Fiend. Kind of double damage rune now, ideally looking to bottle this one. Not sure if they don't actually have any bottles left, so just going to pick it up and probably take this tier 2 tower mid. Can't take any shrines still, there's still a tower at bottom lane, so they are a bit more limited in their options as far as Liquid go.
Miracle starts coming forward. They do have the Remnant. They are hoping to be able to jump something, but it's an illusion. They jump instead. Now Synderen managed to get the hook and a Force Staff away. Still eliminated, though, by Miracle's physical damage. Miracle has to make his way out of this one, though. It's going to pop the ultimate towards the end of his BKB, but on the left-hand side, Mind Control's been caught by Era and Koifa. Now Matu, slowed down by the Purge of Trixie, is going to be forced into a BKB of his own. Very rapidly, this defensive power of Liquid is dwindling. Matu, he actually managed to get the TP out, but Miracle won't be as lucky. He gets a disruption out from Hani, and the team is just going to slam blast him. With all that damage, they're going to be able to pull him down to his death. And GH very likely to fall into the grave as well, as Hani and Era manage to snatch him out near the Ancients. 3 down, all in exchange for just little old Synderen, who made that nice initiation. What illusion was that? Was that a disruption bait?
You mean at the start? I
Yeah.
didn't see what that was, no.
I think it was it was an Invoker illusion, in which case it had to have been disruption bait.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I mean, SF popping his BKB just for that clockwork kill means he's suddenly behind the tower in a really deep position, and he's committed his BKB. At that point, he felt like, oh, I've got my BKB. I feel obliged to just throw a Requiem because he probably figures he's not going to get one off later when the BKB wears off. But he got probably very minimal damage out of that Requiem based on NiP just splitting up and dispersing. They were off chasing the Stand King, so not really the ideal teamfight execution from Liquid. And as you mentioned, that illusion, the illusion bait from the disruption, really just setting NiP up for a great fight.
I think NiP have a pretty good read of what Liquid's feeling right now. I think it's Liquid are pretty desperate to make things work. You know, they just got that BKB. They picked up the double damage. You know, there's all these sort of things. It's like, guys, we got to win a fight right now, because ultimately we're a Drow Ranger lineup that isn't pushing towers and an SF lineup that isn't actually farming. This game is very rapidly going down the drain for us, and NiP are just getting stronger and stronger, as can be seen. Trixie, who picked up a Diffusal Blade not too long ago, now has a fresh BKB coming into the Koifa. Click on him is now level 23 with that Octarine core and another 2,800 gold to back it up.
Yeah, that 25 is coming very, very soon, and he's going to be a big, big problem. These BKBs are getting shorter and shorter as the time goes on. Matu's down to 8 seconds. Miracle's only used his once, but it feels like if the next fight or two don't go like convincingly well for Liquid, it does feel like their lineup is going to kind of just be past its final peak, and then it's going to be all NiP in the late game.
Alright, man, smoke up. They almost run into Koifa. They actually burrow strike forward. I think his smoke popped, so he wanted to move forward, but now NiP see everything, and Mind Control's the one in trouble. Force staffs away, but a nice hook shot. Synderen catches two, but can't get the cogs off and just gets eliminated. GH manages to get the quick burrow strike. Mind Control leading Arrow on a merry chase here with his Force staff. Will finally be brought down. Crow tried to come in and give him a heal, but now he's in the wrong position against Koifa and Trixie. He will be duoed up. They actually have the vision of Miracle. He's going to be forced to pop his BKB, try and TP out. He is good. Is Matu going to be able to get away as well? BKB, TP out, no disables, just physical damage, which was still almost enough. GH, he's also going to make an escape with the stolen hook shot they got from Synderen.
And that's such a bad spot for your smoke to be popped. Like, you're low ground, the Invoker's on the high ground, and he's invis, and you've just lost your gem. Like, Sandking no longer had the gem. He lost that in the last fight, so vision right now is a big problem for Liquid, and I think they needed to just, I guess, ideally want to approach that smoke differently so that they're not going low ground to high ground, but at the same time, they know that top side of the map, they just didn't know that Invoker was kind of struggling behind and was going to actually be in the perfect position to catch them out in that low ground position and give this team all the info they needed to turn that fight around.
It really was the perfect time, right? 2 seconds earlier, they probably run into Koifa before he's past that high ground area and is running to the left-hand side, and they actually get a quick pick, and 2 seconds later, Koifa isn't actually popping that smoke.
Yeah, either of those two, and I think it could have been a very different scenario for Liquid. Like, the killing the Invoker scenario is absolutely fantastic for them, and even if you manage to just get onto that high ground without the smoke popping and then able to take a fight to the left where the rest of the NiP side was, it could have been a very different fight all in all, with like getting Mind Control with a Burrow Strike initiation followed up with a Requiem burst down the target to start things off. But as it stands, NiP now get themselves another Aegis and looking very good to start thinking about closing out this game. They haven't got the best pushing lineup. Like the Invoker with the Alacrity on either himself or put it on a Weaver is at least decent push, but the Liquid team fight high ground defense is something they will still likely respect.
They're going to have to take it nice and slow. It's where Alacrity on a Siege Creep comes in. Forge Spirits also doing their pushing power. They're going to have Trixie on the front lines, it seems, with his BKB and his time lapse. He should be a decent hero to chip away that tower. Liquid probably shouldn't be able to get a quick kill off him and buff this push.
Yeah, Arrow's got a BKB, so even if he dies once to the Aegis, you can pop that on the respawn, and it does feel like NiP, as mentioned, just slow sieging things here. Another Forward Spirit coming in, couple right clicks with an Alacrity, resummon them, and just rinse repeat. Slow and steady, power goes down.
Two-man smoke on the side is going to wear out. Mind Control did not see his opportunity for an initiation, and now they may actually get caught. That Observer Ward placed out by NiP. They knew how important it was to be able to see the rotations across when they go for this bottom lane push, so that ward counter ward combination is a nice setup. Miracle takes a bit of damage here for the Cold Snap. They're going to pop their first shrine now of the defense. Liquid against NiP.
It's a question of how patient will NiP be. At some point, will they try and force a fight? Will they stick the hero actually onto the racks? But right now, it seems like they're happy just to slowly chip at the range racks.
BH throws out that stolen hook shot. It's like it was about to fade anyway. And NiP are actually going to back away for a second here, and Air's going to deal with that top lane push.
No. Very hard to initiate onto the NiP side. They've got that Shadow Demon who's just always sitting behind, has that extra cast range from his level 15 talent, can just put someone down in disruption. And GH at this point just kind of showing off as he's a bit bored. He does lose the hook shot now.
Alright, NiP's got that top lane pushing out again. Era will rejoin his team. Their 5-man efforts into...
I mean, if they can just keep on stalling this out to the age, I mean, they've still got another minute and a half, but at this rate, they won't even take a melee Rax in that minute and a half. NiP need to make a more concerted, aggressive attempt. Not even onto the buildings necessarily, even just starting and forcing a fight with a hook shot. Maybe something they just have to do at some point. For now, they're just trying to slow siege using disruption illusions.
Pixie gets a little bit more aggressive with the Alacrity, will finish off that range Rax, but it is just a range Rax. Liquid won't be too scared of that. It's the melee Rax. That is the prize. Reaching bit by bit is not going to be good enough against that regen, so we'll see if they make another concerted effort here as the push comes forward. The disruption, even backdoor protection still up. Matu will take a decent amount of damage, down to half health now as Trixie comes forward, pops his BKB, threatening Matu's life, but he does get a 4-step back. Now with Matu healing, NiP can get some more damage onto that melee Rax, but the rest of Liquid start coming forward, chasing NiP back.
And they're struggling to get this Rax. I mean, they're still in a fine position, don't get me wrong, but Liquid are making them work for it, showing some world-class high ground defense with the SF illusions.
Oh, that's definitely a big one.
Not putting onto the Rax, they will get taken out. Just zoning the SF out, knowing that this will free up the space.
Oh, there it is, the Epi initiation. Epi onto Koifa, but the Lincolns managed to protect him for the Burrow Strike, so there wasn't any real good hold. They finally get a Yule Scepter onto Koifa, but he managed to bounce away with a Ghost Walk. Oh, Cinderin! He was halfway through the hookshot animation to be able to get away from this one. Mind Control's been stunned up, does get out another stun, but Koifa blocks it again with the Lincolns, and now they've got a disruption onto a Drow Ranger with Miracle slowed down on the side. This is rapidly turning disastrous for Liquid as they come out and immediately get rebuffed. They just get taken out like that with the Meteor combination. They lose Matu. They get a drop GH as well. Miracle's left alone now to defend against NiP unless they want to buy back on Matu. Burrow still having that chaotic offering, but it seems like they'll give up the melee Rax and try and keep these buybacks intact, or at least waiting for a better opportunity when Mind Control and GH are back up. But during that 30 seconds, NiP can take a lot.
Even with the buyback, they still want to take this Rax in mid lane. They've taken at least the tower, and with the Alacrity Invoker, they can take more.
Miracle comes forward, now the chaotic offering. They look to blow up Koifa, they've got him dead. 90 seconds down. But NiP have bought everything they needed with that Aegis push. They forced a buyback, they got a lane of Rax. They really don't need more. So a full retreat out from them, make sure Liquid don't catch anything else but the Koifa death. Liquid are now going to be scrambling in turn to try and take objectives during this downtime for the Invoker.
Yeah, I mean, there's a tier 2 tower at bottom, but perhaps the bigger objective is forcing that Invoker buyback. You think, how do we win this game considering how rough things have been looking for the last 15-20 minutes? And I think it comes from forcing that Invoker buyback and finding a pick-off on him at a later time. You may even pay for that Invoker buyback with like a death here. If Cinderin catches someone with a hook shot as Invoker buys back, that could be a really tough one. And potentially, they can even hold this without the buyback. That's really the ideal scenario for them. They just want to keep doing that cogs on the high ground. Eric can try and keep spamming it out. It's very difficult to force high ground, even with Invoker dead.
Physical damage is still pretty formidable for Liquid. It's going to be the tier 3's beginning to drop. 30 seconds left for Koifa's Invoker. NiP, are they going to give in to this pressure? Now Hani, going to be caught. They're going to be able to get the Burrow Strike onto him, trying to activate it, but it's not enough to save him. Plus, Cinderin managed to get the hook shot onto 2, locking them in, but they both get a 4-staff outside of the cogs. BKB activated, but Miracle can't make his way out like Matu can. He's too low HP, so he turns around, tries to go for the ultimate tornado. Oh, it was just a sliver away from catching Kuro as well. The buyback was forced, though, and you said, gods, that gives Liquid a glimmer of hope. Even if it costs them a death and maybe a buyback of their own, at least they have a chance at an endgame scenario, whereas before, we didn't see that same kind of light.
Yeah, it creates a win condition for them, which is what was just completely, it seems, lacking for the last 20 minutes. It feels like they've just been unable to really do lot. Quick's just been quietly farming his way to level 25, 6-slot Invoker, but now we're looking at potential SF buyback. They're going to be on the ropes themselves with an SF buyback, but at least a kill on Quick that could set them up for success.
First staff over the cogs and a push back. Now Era actually commits here forward with the BKB. Double remnant use. Kuro, he's going to be caught inside the shrine. He's taken apart. Cinderin, similar story here. He has the Ghost Scepter to fall back on. Disruption, hook, but he hooks into his own illusions. Won't be able to make it out. Mind Control gets taken out though. Trixie's up next. The silence, not able to do enough though. Matu can't output the damage. They're trying to hold on to this buyback of Miracles and use mind controls instead, missing out on the stun on Trixie. Now Matu in serious trouble. Gets silenced up, push back. The combination is there, but a disruption save from GH is not going to be enough. A tornado catches Matu on the way out. Trixie will help clean it up. Now they're left with no buyback on the Drow Ranger for 90 seconds, and it seems like that win condition, that small little opportunity that Liquid have, now closed. They're going to come back to the SF, but they will still have to fight this one at bare minimum. 4 versus 4. Jump in, epicenter combination, and pulls out Trixie. They do manage to hold at least one telekinesis forward. They go for Invoker. He gets a Yule Scepter, manages to get away with a Ghost Walk, it looks like. NiP are still going to pursue, but it seems like he is too far away. Yeah, missing out on the Burrow Strike, turnaround, Scythe, and a Tornado Strike? No, my control's not that low.
Yeah, he had the Lincolns here anyways for the bar strike was close, but then I'm like, alright, Dexy, that wouldn't have mattered too much, but this is... Well, I mean, there's still some small hope for Liquid. You've got an Invoker without buy. I think if you give NiP the space to get those buybacks back up and another Roshan, then that hope disappears. But this, like, 1 minute window where they're going to have Drow back alive before Roche respawns. Luckily for them, it's a very slow Roche respawn. Invoker would love to get the Aegis to make up for not having buyback for 4 minutes, but with 5 men alive, there's an ever so slight hope for this Liquid side. They picked up a Vlad's on Kuro. They're going for whatever cheap, cost-effective items they can. And they really just have like this, it's not even like they've got one fight left, it just feels like they've got this very short 3-4 minute period of time where they've got to make something happen.
Miracle felt like he had to scout out Roshan, but now he's low with the BKB. Pops the BKB, lets it out, does force Synderen away, but that's now a big team fight ultimate that's on cooldown. Miracle still is yet to make a full escape if he's not careful. It may be able to take advantage of this one. Roshan is still not up. Liquid very rightly feared that it was already up and NiP were doing it, but unfortunately for NiP, they're going to have to wait for a full 5-on-5 to be able to take that Aegis.
Luckily, SF even gets a chance to heal up a bit more, or this potential Roche fight goes down. A Ranger, though, still trapped at this bottom lane, which is a bit of an issue for Liquid.
Tries to push the lane out as much as he can before this fight is going to... Bit of a dancing game there between Mind Control and Era. Era, who does not have a Lincoln's, a little bit more susceptible to that initiation. Combo stuns from Liquid. NiP, I like this play a lot. They're going to take the high ground where the former Dire Shrine was, and it's Liquid who are going to now take the low ground with their smoke out. They run into Hani, manage to get the initiation there, but it's just a support. They can bring him down. Almost. No one gets a force staff to the high ground. Synderen pops the Ghost Scepter, and their initiation from Liquid doesn't actually catch anything. Now Mind Control stuck about on the high ground. He's done for. Era comes in big, gets a lot of damage on Matu, tries to go for a desperate TP out, but doesn't actually make it. With this high ground advantage, Liquid can't output any damage. Kuro, he gets a force staff to the high ground, quickly followed up by Trixie, takes him down. Triple kill for the Trickster, and now it's going to be NiP. All 5 man up, 3 down on Liquid. None of them have buybacks. This should be Megas.
Yeah, they're going straight for the racks. They'll even fight their way through backdoor protection if they have to, and well, it's not even activated as... Not sure what creeps from the base, but hey. At this point, I don't think it really matters, as NiP will, in theory, secure themselves this Game 2 victory. It's not quite over just yet. Liquid will make them play it out as they do threaten to go for some split push in mid lane, but drone play is going to be the end of Liquid if they don't come back to defend.
The stolen disruption from GH will give a lot more credibility to this push, as backdoor protection is down from a single range creep and siege creep, but tier 4 is already dead, and these heroes are being threatened now by Hani alone. Throws out the ultimate. Miracle. He knows the end game is nigh. And Throne is going to fall. That's it. GG is called. Liquid lose game number 2. Ninja's Pajamas tie the series up, and we're going to go to our first game 3 in the DAC European qualifiers.
Yeah, it was a